cartoon, whatever.
Right,
Pixar,
the Toy Story, they're kind of great
yeah.
movies, yeah.
Because at least, no, I'm not, you know what, Phil Collins is mad at me enough, because at the time
What
when
did
I
you
was
do?
playing,
You
I was playing a
called him
live
Baldy?
show, and, well, I made a joke at a show, because somebody yelled something like, you should win, or, you know, it was before the Oscars, and I said that I thought it would be funny if I was visibly angry, disappointed, and upset. I don't know. I thought that would, because nobody ever does that. Everybody's
Right,
gracious.
so that's what you did on the night.
No, I
Did you
wish
just
I
start
had.
screaming? And
When they called the name, I actually didn't even hear. I mean, I assumed that he would win because it's obvious that he would. But
and it's a beautiful song, and we'll be playing it later on the show.
that's right.
So what's the name of the song you're going to play for us?
Okay, this is called Freeway. Gosh, I screwed it up already. Sorry, Stephen. I'm still thinking about your the other four in the top 5.
Amy Mann playing live in the Hub on Six Music. That was a joy for me, and if I can get Nora Jones and Avril Lavigne in, then I can tick off my top 3, you know, in the next couple of weeks. It's interesting, I was just wondering, one of the things I've always thought about your music is it has a naturally cinematic quality to it, particularly your last album, The Forgotten Arm, which kind of had a whole narrative of sorts to it. Is that something that factors in, particularly because of people think of the crossover with Magnolia and so on?
Well, I have to say that since Magnolia, I kind of had started thinking more in terms of movies, and The Forgotten Arm kind of sprung from, there was a song I wrote that's called King of the Jailhouse, which was about two people who kind of run off together, and then the image for that I had in my mind was an image that was from Paul Thomas Anderson's first movie called Hard Eight, where there's a scene where Gwyneth Paltrow and John C. Reilly kind of run off together because they got into a little trouble in Reno or something, and what a great phrase. And they shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. And so I was picturing that scene, and then I kind of just wrote the rest of the record as if it was a soundtrack to some, you know, kind of imaginary movie.
And so can you tell us anything about this forthcoming album? Does it follow along that same line, or is
Not
it...
at all.
Okay,
no,
so
no concept at
you
all.
abandoned that idea.
Yeah.
It wasn't working for you. You thought, forget it.
Well, it worked for that one, and then I was satisfied, and then now I'm doing something else.
And now it makes you sound. You've been working perhaps with Timbaland. It's now got a kind of Nelly Furtado quality to it.
If I ever, as I mentioned earlier, if I ever listened to music, then perhaps I would, be one of those musicians who would want to work with other people, but
Yeah.
I'm lazy and I'm insular. I don't get out much, so I just end up writing what I write. And
just a final question: Are you as kind of melancholy in your spirit as your songs would suggest you are? Because it seems to me that there's
I don't
nothing.
think so.
There's nothing wrong. It's about
if there's not a
interdependency.
problem, then what's the fun?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's no good writing, "Oh, Lady in Red, you looked great in your red dress."
Lady in Red? Did
If
you
she'd
just
spilt
cite
some
Lady in Red?
Right.
You
If
know
she'd
that-
spilt something on the red dress,
You know
now
that,
I'm interested.
Stephen, in our band, when we have long drives, our favorite game is to play What's the Worst Song Ever Written? And some argue that that's number 1. I think Ebony and Ivory is number 1, but that's number 2. That's a solid number 2.
Well, you're wrong there, because Ebony Ivory has single-handedly ended racism, which is clear, whereas Lady in Red has achieved little, as far as I can
It's
tell.
like We Are the World ended world hunger.
Exactly, yeah. Well, maybe that's what... And this is another thought. I'm just suggesting this to all pop stars and rock stars. Why not write a song which can easily be used on any sports montage?
Yeah.
Okay, it just needs to include the words winning, we've won something, you're a winner, hooray, celebration, things like this. Think about this.
Yeah.
It can get used in every...
Yeah.
All right, so just make it, if money's running low at any
When
point.
something means almost nothing, it can mean almost anything.
Exactly. Oh, and if we've learned nothing else from this interview, we've learned that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming in, and I should encourage people to go and investigate your back catalogue if they're not familiar. And then the new album is out.
January, February, yeah.
So you've come in without anything to plug. It's so adorable.
No plugging. I'm here for fun.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Forever I will do my part.
The Rush is Ripping It Down, which is a tune that we've been championing here on the Steve Show, and it's made no impression on on anyone, which is good to see that we've got that kind of sway. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with a Steve Wright style round of applause. It's Sammy. She made it.
Hi.
A lot of people said it wasn't going to happen. But she's done it. She's come all the way from the north via York and Peterborough. Was that right?
And St. Neots.
St. Neots. And apparently that has a... was it a Cafe Nero?
It's got a Cafe Nero and
Really?
a thriving town square.
Yeah, and ample parking as well, should we need to pop back. So, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm a little bit tired and I've got a stitch. Mum, I'm alright. I got here safe. Just so I don't have to call. I'd say it's on the call.
Sure.
You've
You've got a stitch.
Yeah, I've got a stitch.
You know, no one gets stitches, do they, when they're in adult life?
Well, I kind of hoped that had gone by, what with skiving out my last 3 years of PE lessons, but no, there's definitely a stitch there. It's
But you're
evident.
okay, relax.
I'm fine.
Chill out. How was the journey?
It was alright. I met a charming woman from Sunderland called Sheila. Sorry, Sharon. Sharon, I apologise. It's the lemon squash. It's gone straight in my head. And we had some delightful conversations about her shaming her daughter and what she does for a living.
What does she do for a living?
She's a moderator on a website, a chat room. And I'll leave it to your imagination what kind of chat room needs a moderator, really. That's all I'm going to say.
Is it a music fan site?
It's not, no, Steve. It's more of where you'd go to find somebody. In your hour of darkness.
When you say find somebody, do you mean sort of somewhat maybe a partner, or do you mean a sort of
Maybe a
nudie
partner.
lady?
Maybe a nudie lady, maybe
Right.
a nudie man. She was telling me the ins and outs, well, not quite literally, of chat rooms and moderation of said chat rooms, and it was really interesting. I had quite an interesting journey. I didn't mind being so delayed once I met her.
You have had a good 4 weeks off.
I've had a banging 4 weeks off, yes.
What's the highlight?
Oh my goodness, I've had to write down each weekend because there's been some highlights, I have to say. I've scaled walls, I've met hedgehogs, I've seen meteor showers, I met a boy with my surname and we got on like a house on fire, as you'd expect. It's really been quite the 4 weeks.
There are so many questions we have to ask. Let's stop for some music. You have a tune that you've chosen for us.
I do, yes, and it's actually dedicated to the boy with my name. This is the Rock Lobsters. This is Rock Lobster by the B-52s.
A gem. Available to download, I'm not entirely sure. But I know it was either coming out or has come out or something. Remember we played it a while back? It's information I should have. I've been very busy, guys. I'm not going to lie to anyone here. I've been very busy doing my proper day job. I've been in my little cocoon of sort of media, filming and editing and stuff like that. So I've not actually seen or experienced the outside world. I don't know what's happening in the news. Didn't hear about the meteorite shower. I know there was a bit of a financial wobble a while ago. Harry, you're a banker. Did that have a big problem? Were people coming in and as they looked through your little glass screen, were they getting nervous?
Panicking, just walking into the banking hall and screaming and crying.
Just
saying,
urinating on the floor. You've had to mop up.
Where has my money gone? But yeah, it was very busy. That's the thing, 4 weeks I thought I'd be quite relaxing. Just go back to work, chill out, got my weekends to myself. I was so busy.
Can you reassure people who've perhaps got their money invested that everything's going to be okay?
No way. It's getting worse, sister. It's going to get a lot worse from here.
Now, you are a trained banker. Is that true? Is it going to get worse?
Well, the thing is, we don't know what's actually going on, Steve. There's going to be some hidden horror story. Basically, there's been too much cheap money flying about. When there's too much cheap money flying about, people take stupid risks, which is what has happened, and there'll be probably the collapse of some massive financial institution at some point.
I'm thinking that there should be a new feature on the show, How to Be a Complete Banker.
Brilliant.
Obviously. A bit irreverent, a bit Channel 4.
Yeah,
and sideways look at the world of finance. Maybe you could host it, we could have that as a regular Steve Show feature.
That sounds brilliant.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Alright, note
I'll
to
get
self.
work on it.
Yeah, How to Be a Complete Banker.
Harry, how can money be cheap? That's completely gone over my head.
Well, if you're
Okay, we haven't got time. We haven't got time for that.
I'm
We just haven't got time for that. Okay, now, obviously, we've performed a mediocre show today. Sammy was late. The top of the show threw me because we fell off air for a minute and a half. I probably lost most of our 8 listeners.
That was probably the highlight.
For many people. Harry and Dan have brought little to the party. Let's hope it can be rescued by our contributor this week. Each week we like to get a listener on the phone who can recommend a tune, because this show is very much about the music. It's all about music, swapping tunes, sharing and our love of music, and also just singing the praises of rock and roll. Is there anything wrong with that? Sue me, God. And so we have, I hope I'm right in saying, we have Alice Whittaker on the line.
Hello.
Hello, Alice, all right.
Hello, you haven't given me a tough job with that build-up, thanks.
All right, go. Salvage the show, Alice. Off you go. Start with a gag or maybe a song. Alice, tell me a bit about yourself. You're a student?
That's correct, yeah.
What do you study?
English with creative writing.
Okay, a nice dossy subject. And
yeah, it's good.
is that something you aspire to be, a creative writer?
Not really, no. I
Made a
don't know
terrible
what I
mistake there, then, haven't you? Of all the courses you could do, you've made a terrible, terrible blunder. What would your ambition be, Alice?
I would like a Steve-type show, ideally, on Six Music.
Oh, well, who wouldn't? You have to work hard for that.
Well, yeah.
What I can suggest is you find with more ability and leech off his reputation for as long as possible. All right, so good luck on that one.
I'll do my best.
There's plenty out there, so if you can find one. And and you'd like to? You're a big music fan, then, so you'd like to host a kind of radio show. Is that something you've had experience of?
I have a show on our student radio station, but that has about 3 listeners, and they're all our flatmates. So it's not big ambition.
Not a big listenership. I did a radio show at university as well, and likewise it had no listeners. But I was in good company because previous people that had sat in the very seat included Radio 5's Simon Mayo and Timmy Mallet.
Wow.
Yeah, so I came from quite an alumni there. And so what kind of show do you do? Is it irreverent? Is it a sideways look at the week's news? Is it irreverent conversation? Do you have a group of sycophants like me, or is it just music based?
It's mostly just sort of chatting about what we've done that week.
Had any conversations with hedgehogs of late? Because that's the kind of content you need if you want to host a national radio show.
Yeah, no, it's often quite inappropriate probably for the radio if we had more listeners than we did. But
sure. This is something that we managed to get away with when we did our radio show. Dan was also one of the people on that, and yes, because there were no listeners, we used to get away with some really quite offensive material.
Some terrible things actually.
Yeah, I remember our hilarious skit at Home with Fred and Rose West, which was anyway absolutely disgraceful, and I don't know what we were thinking. But anyway, so yes, that's the nature of student radio, isn't it? It's rock and roll. So what kind of music are you into?
All sorts, really. At the moment, I am just listening to Rilo Kiley and Aqualung because I saw them recently. But, lots of stuff like that, really.
I adore the Kylie. I wasn't able to catch them live. Did you enjoy them as much as Harry?
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
You missed out. It was really good.
Isn't Jenny Lewis such an extraordinary frontwoman?
She's amazing.
She has that. You
I
get
went
that feeling
on
that she
my
should
own
be.
because I thought I can't afford to miss this, and no one's coming with me. But I went anyway, and it was really good.
It's always frustrating not to be able to share those moments with people, though, isn't it? When you see someone as exciting as her. I tried to grab as many people and take them along to that last solo tour she did, just to try and convert people to Jenny.
Yeah, well, you converted me to her. It was on the show that I heard it, so thanks.
At last, I think that's the first time anyone's ever admitted that we've contributed to their musical knowledge, which is fantastic.
Yeah, lots. Beirut as well was Rufus's recommendation. They're amazing.
Well, listen, maybe it's your chance now to return the favour. I'm not familiar with the track you've chosen. Tell me a bit about it.
I don't know very much about it. It's a band called Husky Rescue. They're from Finland. They make kind of slightly weird music, I think, that spans lots of different genres.
And what's the tune you've chosen?
This is Nightless Night.
All right, let's have a listen to it. We'll come back to you in a second. Thanks, Alice. Stay tuned.
All right, cheers.
That's Husky Rescue and a tune called Nightless Night, and it's the choice of our listener, Alice Whittaker. Alice, you still there?
Yes, I am. Yeah, hi.
That was great. I really enjoyed that, actually. A little round of applause in the studio. I think that. I think everyone was nodding along. Everyone was enjoying that very much. Alice, can I keep meaning to ask when we get our younger listeners on, what's happening in student life at the moment? Who are big? Who should I know about that I don't already know about? Who are the big names? If I went to the alternative disco at university, what tunes would be getting a big round of applause?
It's mainly stuff that isn't really alternative where I am. I don't think they know about alternative music in Cornwall.
Oh, really? Is it quite square?
Arcade Fire.
Sure.
Bit of hard fi, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And also kind of generally what's popular amongst sort of movies and TV?
Neighbours.
Neighbours. People still watch Neighbours.
Oh,
Wow, it's extraordinary. I think
amazing.
there's obviously a certain age where everyone, like, sort of, I suppose it's kind of fifth formers, sixth formers, and young students, and they watch Neighbours.
To watch it.
Neighbours. And what sort of film-wise, what have been the big? If I walked in and I wanted to buy a poster for my wall at the kind of inevitable student poster sale, in my day it was always Reservoir Dogs, lots of Pulp Fiction, maybe the Nirvana